What happens when legacy horror finally gets treated like legacy cinema? Welcome back to The Final Cut, your daily pulse in horror. The stories shaping the genre, the industry, and the future of fear. Before we dive in, a quick shout out to today's sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by Grove and Fanatical. Over at Grove, horror fans can always score deals on Blu-ray, 4K, and Steelbooks, including Universal Monster Classics and modern studio releases. And at Fanatical, PC gamers can lock in discounts on survival horror, RPGs, and collector-friendly bundles. If you're into horror games, this is where you want to be. Sign up for their newsletter so you never miss limited time drops. All right, let's get into today's top stories. First up, Universal has officially locked in a May 19th, 2028 release date for a brand new Mummy movie. And yes, Fraser and Rachel Weisz are both returning as Rick and Evelyn O'Connell. The film will be directed by Radio Silence, the duo behind Ready or Not, Scream, and Abigail, with the script by David Cogshell. Sean Daniel returns to produce, keeping continuity with the original trilogy. This isn't a reboot. This isn't a reinvention. This is Universal leaning into what worked. Period adventure, romantic chemistry, practical spectacle, and horror that knows how to have fun. The original Mummy didn't just launch a franchise, it helped define early 2000s blockbuster horror and proved Universal's monster legacy could evolve without losing its soul. My question for you guys, is this the right way to revive classic franchises by continuing them instead of rebooting them? And I don't think this bodes well for that other Mummy remake that's out there coming. Looks like people are ready to move on from that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments ahead. Speaking of reuniting, seems to be the theme of today's show. Horror's most trusted partnership is back in action. Mike Flanagan is set to write and direct a new feature adaptation of Stephen King's The Mist for Warner Brothers. The story remains the same at its core. A small Maine town swallowed by an unnatural fog, creatures lurking within, and a group of survivors trapped in a grocery store as fear, paranoia, and mob mentality begin to rot them from the inside out. What makes this exciting isn't the monsters, it's Flanagan's obsession with human fracture under pressure. If there's anyone who understands King's interest in how fear reorganizes society, it's him. And with Carrie also in development as a series, Flanagan has quietly become the most important King interpreter of this era. My question for you guys, does The Mist work better as a bleak theatrical experience, or would it be even more terrifying as a limited series, or should they just have left the other one alone? Let me know your answers in the comments ahead. And finally, Friday is Friday the 13th. So of course we got us some Jason Voorhees news this week. And Jason Voorhees is heading back to the big screen, not with a reboot, but with respect. Regal Cinemas has announced that multiple Friday the 13th films will return to theaters throughout 2026, all screening on actual Friday the 13th. The schedule includes Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th Part 2, Part 3 in 3D, The Final Chapter, Jason Lives. Notably excluded, A New Beginning. Regal says that one's being left out of respect, which longtime fans will absolutely understand. This is about restoring slashers to the environment they were designed for, a dark room, a loud crowd, and the communal thrill of fear. My question for you guys, if you could only see one Friday the 13th movie on the big screen, which one are you picking? Mine will either be 2 or A New Beginning. Let me know your answers in the comments ahead. Today's take, legacy horror is finally being treated like heritage cinema. Universal is continuing The Mummy instead of rebooting it. Warner Brothers is trusting Flanagan to reinterpret King with patience and weight. And studios are recognizing that slashers don't belong buried in streaming menus. They belong in theaters with audiences. This isn't nostalgia bait. This is course correction. Horror doesn't need to reinvent itself every 5 years. It needs to remember why it worked in the first damn place. Now's your turn, folks. Head over to Spotify, answer today's poll. Which legacy horror revival are you most excited for? The Mummy continuing the original trilogy, Mike Flanagan's The Mist, Friday the 13th back in theaters, or none of the above. Your votes help shape what we cover next. And don't forget, if you have tips, casting news, or festival rumors, DM us at HMUNCUT, and we might feature it on a future episode. That's it for today's Hump Day episode of The Final Cut, your daily post in horror. I'm Travis. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You guys know the drill. Hit the like, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and until next time, keep the lights on.